Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the 2024 World Chess Championship match between the champion Ding Liren from China and the challenger Gukesh D from India. This is game number 13 out of a possible 14 classical games, and if the match is tied 7-7, we go to a tiebreak. It's tied 6-6. In games 11 and 12, the match exploded. First, Gukesh won to take a one-game lead with 3 games to go, but he followed it up with a lackluster performance coupled with the fact that Ding played his best game in probably half a decade. And now it's 6-6. And today, Gukesh played just like he played in game 11. It was absolutely insane to watch. And Ding brought his A game as well. Folks, before I show you the game today, I'd like to thank the sponsor of today's video, me and Chessly. Folks, has chess ever made you feel like this? Well, I built a solution. Say hello to Chessly. Chessly is the best chess learning experience for beginner and intermediate players, and we are launching the site with over 50 courses, so you can learn openings from the Ponziani to the Grunfeld, and also you can boost your middle game and end game play. And we're also building a 5-step training program to ramp up beginners. On the new Chessly, I wanted to build something that I wish I had when I was trying to get better at chess, because studying chess should not feel like a second or third job or going to the dentist, which is why on Chessly you'll be able to earn XP, level up, get achievements, and climb up the leaderboard. But there's more. You'll also be able to connect your chess.com account to Chessly, and that's going to let us suggest you courses based on your ELO and the results of your games, help you compare your chess.com games to your Chessly courses to see if you're playing your openings correctly, and build you a skills matrix in the future, which will tell you exactly what you're good and bad at and how to improve. Folks, we've been working on Chessly 2.0 for months now, and I'm super proud of our work. I'm so excited to share it with all of you. And if you already got one of my courses or Chessly Plus before, you should already have an email in your inbox outlining what Chessly 2.0 is going to look like. By the way, check spam or the promotions tab. Sometimes it goes there. And if you can't find an email, just email us at the Chessly support inbox. And if you never got a course before, go to Chessly right now and simply join for free. And that way, you'll be on our email list. So you will be the first to know when Chessly 2.0 is live. December 13th, 2024. I cannot wait. I hope you are just as excited as I am. Thank you, as always, to sponsor Gotham, although in this case, I'm sponsoring myself. Folks, look, I know some of you may be annoyed, but I'm really, really proud of Chessly, so I'm going to keep talking about it, and I'm probably going to keep talking about it for the next couple of weeks as well, once it launches, because I can't wait to have all of you try it. Now, Gukesh with the white pieces. Twice in this match, he has gone e4. Twice in this match, Ding has played e6. There is absolutely no way that Ding is going to repeat it again. There is also absolutely no way that Gukesh is afraid of the French, which is why he shows up after a little bit of rest, rejuvenation, and he's ready. He has come prepared for the French defense. There is no way you can play the French defense at the World Championship level for weeks if the guy knows what you're going to play. There's no way you can do that. You've got to change it up. Because the French is not one of the most cutting-edge openings at the top level or at engine level. And my Ding Liren plants his feet in the ground over there at the Sentosa Island in Singapore and says, "Damn it, Gukesh, show me what you got. This is my last black game in the classical portion of the World Chess Championship match, and I intend to play the French." This is crazy stuff. D4, D5, Knight C3. This is all the stuff that Gukesh has played thus far. It's the most testing line in the French defense. Knight F6, E5, Knight D7, Knight D2. This is exactly how game number 1 went. Game number 2 was pawn takes, pawn takes. Gukesh went for the exchange French. I don't know why Gukesh is not going for the advanced French, but Gukesh is playing Knight CE2 and now C5. Now, this system is a system where white retreats the knight from the center to play the move C3, and then plays the move F4. Or if white doesn't play F4, white plays knight to F3, right? So white wants a lot of central control. But now Gukesh shows us what he's doing. He shows us what he's been working on. In this position, the two moves that make up 90-something% of the database, maybe like 98% of the database, are F4 and knight F3. Gukesh plays A3. Wow. Okay. And now Ding spends 17 minutes. So obviously he was not ready for the move A3, right? Because it's just kind of a regular move. Now, a3 is very fascinating because there might be some positions where white even plays b4. I'm not saying you want to. I'm just saying it's always a possibility in the French. There are some positions where you prevent black from potentially advancing. Remember, in game number 1 of this match, Ding advanced the pawn all the way down to a3. So you still don't really have much information. The best move here, according to the computer, is to play f6. Like on a very high depth, Stockfish basically says, hey, white didn't do anything over here, so I'm going to fight back. And if this happens, I even can get my queen out in some positions, which is pretty funny. So for example, c takes, queen h4 check, g3, queen e4 is a very nice way to lose the world championship in 11 moves, because you just lose material. But Ding plays this. So he spends 17 minutes. He doesn't play a5, which is the move that he played in game number 1, because a5 doesn't really make a whole lot of sense now, since you're not going to be able to get the pawn down all the way. You also don't have sufficient information, so he just develops the bishop. Now, developing the bishop is fine. But now Gukesh shows you his idea. Oh, wow. This is new. And bishop e7 might have not been the best move, but bishop e3, not f4, not knight f3. What is... Okay, but you're going to have to play one of these moves anyway, right, Gukesh? Well, if black castles now, white's going to show you exactly what he's trying to do. He's trying to secure his center and stabilize his position to play a totally unique and fresh idea. He's not trying to play f4 or knight f3. Gukesh wants to play knight f4, which is something that has never been seen. This is what happens when you do your homework. And now Ding spends 37 minutes. Ding is again down an hour on move 8. And every time Ding has had black, and frankly, every time Ding has had white, he has befuddled me. I think that's the right word. I just sit here and I watch, and I'm like, I'm going to have a heart attack. Like, how does he have half his time gone in 8 moves? What about the other 32 moves? But what he's trying to do is combine his own chess expertise with the situation in front of him, and he wants to play knight b6, knight c4, and take this bishop. And Gukesh goes here. Plays it very fast. And now Ding plays pawn takes, and knight c4. Now, what's funny about this is a bad approach. Like, if you let the computer really think here, it thinks that black can't play like this. Black cannot play knight d7, knight b6, knight c4, and then try to take again. Black doesn't have enough time. And in general, in these structures like you have here, this is the advanced French structure. If black doesn't create sufficient counterplay, it's a really difficult spatial disadvantage to deal with. And after bishop takes, pawn takes, the move in this position that gives Gukesh an absolutely red-hot initiative — initiative is a series of moves in chess where you create threats and improve your position — is the move queen g4. After queen g4, black has massive difficulties. Massive. Because if you castle, you're walking right into an attack. So a lot of people here will play g6. But then I play knight e2, and then I'm going to castle, and you've weakened the king. And anytime you castle, here comes h4, h5. So queen g4 seems to be the problem with this. But the thing is, if you don't remember that, or if you've never played this position before, you're going to default to what your preparation might have been or what the ideas were. And it's very clear that the general idea of knight to f4 is probably to go knight e2. And that is why in this position, Gukesh, he spends 7 minutes taking the knight and just plays this move in 2 minutes. He doesn't play queen g4 at all. Now, look, the only reason, like, I can tell you queen g4 is the best move is because I've been listening to Grandmaster commentary all morning, and it seems to be the consensus that that is the best move. Now, there are, obviously problems potentially defending the king, but the king is actually always pretty safe. White strikes first, and then can play knight e2, and after this, white gets the bishop to c3, and black is not going to have anything. I feel like if I was playing black against Gukesh in this position and we were playing in some tournament, like I wouldn't be playing Gukesh at the candidates, but if I traveled to a tournament and he was there, maybe we would get paired in the first round because we're so different in rating. I feel like Gukesh would play Queen G4 against me and beat me in like 27 moves. But it's a world championship. It's like a slightly different feel. And by playing a slow move, Ding now has an opportunity to actually straight up equalize the game. He can play f6. Pawn to f6 is a very common break in the French defense where black tries to fight back against the white center. And it's really hard for white to make a move, actually. Like, you probably have to take, bishop takes, and let's not forget, we gave black a bishop already. Like, black got the light squared bishop, and that means that black has the bishop pair. But instead of that, Ding plays b5, which is also a move, but like you would think f6 and you trade, and I mean, you activate the bishop, the central blockade is gone. I didn't see a single problem with the move f6. Sometimes I try to understand why the players do something. I could not for the life of me understand why f6 wasn't played, considering white's got some nice pieces, but none of these pieces make any sense without the presence of the queen. And as you're going to see later in the game, that is literally what Gukesh did. Gukesh moved the pieces out of the way to bring the queen. So that is how the game went. But Ding plays b5, which, look, bishop b7, fine, but I just didn't see anything wrong with the move f6. Now they both castle, and now Gukesh goes here. And the opening experiment is absolutely paying off because he's about to put an absolute beating on the black king. Like, he is going to go straight down that side of the board, and there is nothing Ding can do. The rook goes to b8. The rook goes to b8 to simultaneously defend this pawn, get off of this diagonal, and also to prepare counterplay with the pawn. And now here comes knight h5. Now, the queen could have already been there, creating some problems, right? At this point, what the computer wants black to do is so disgusting. It wants black to go king h8, anticipate that the queen is coming, defend the mate, and I swear to you, after something like this, it wants to play queen f8. Now, let me tell you something right now. If Ding Liren played these three moves, he should be taken to doping control immediately after the game because no human can play chess like this. What do we even do? This is nonsense. Nonsense. Rubbish. It's complete nonsense. Who plays like this? And apparently you just defend your position. Maybe you prepare f5 in the future. Nobody plays chess like that. Ding, human, f5. But again, everything in this game didn't make sense. Let me explain. Like, it is making sense, but it's not. Ding played f5, and pawn takes f6 happens, right? But why didn't he just play f6 to begin with? He still had to use his pawn for counterplay, right? Gukesh didn't bring his queen out in the beginning stage of the game, only to bring it out right after. Like, the game was played, but with a slight delay. You know what I mean? And here, again, another possibility for Gukesh could have been to take the bishop, which is totally shifting the nature of the game. It's not going to be an attacking game, and trying to go for d5. And he obviously thought about this, and he didn't like something. He probably didn't like, queen d5, queen e6, which is just simply a trade of the queens. But in a lot of these endgames, like rook d1, queen d5, and rook d5, white has permanent pressure. Black will go b4, you'll take it, there's knight takes, but there is bishop a7. Unfortunately, though, after this trade, it's probably just a draw. But there might have been, maybe you could have done things slightly differently. Like in this line after d5 takes, queen e6, here, rook d1, like take. You could take with a knight, you could take with a rook. I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of very fascinating dynamics that could exist. And he probably has to move the f rook for tactical reasons. But he goes here, and he keeps putting the pressure. The knight is hanging. The bishop is under pressure. Ding now, by the way, can take on d4. But he's got 44 minutes. They both have 44, 43 minutes. He can actually take this pawn, which obviously Gukesh thought about. And if bishop takes, obviously the bishop just moves. But if the knight takes on f6, then after rook f6, the queen is under attack. Queen d1, e5, bishop g. Oh, not that. Please go back. Bishop g5. What's pretty epic is after bishop f5 and takes, black is better. Like, black can actually sack a rook here and get these two pieces like this and be in totally good shape, which is kind of wild. But Ding, again, playing passively, and Gukesh applying the pressure. He's, like, really He's playing on the initiative, playing on the feel of the position, and now f3, fantastic move. So hard to explain f3 to a player, but you block the diagonal, you set up just general useful kind of dark square stuff. You also prepare the knight going to e4. A lot of very good moves here. And Ding, rook back to f8. Ding kind of floating off in the waters here as Gukesh is sort of consolidating and playing very focused chess. f3, rook f8, look at rook d1. And now the pressure builds up. Ding spends 11 minutes, and I fear he missed Gukesh's move here completely. The players were at 35 to 31. It was tense. Gukesh didn't capitalize on the opening advantage, but Ding plays knight e7 with the simple purpose, basically, to put the knight on d5 or f5 and get here where now he has no weaknesses and he has a very active bishop and the game is heading very quickly toward equality. He completely misses a ghost move, a move that doesn't look possible, but is now made possible by the departure of this knight because it used to protect the e5 square. Ghost move is bishop f4. Ding has blundered. For all intents and purposes, at this level, this is a blunder. That is an attack on the rook, and you cannot take it because of this fork. And that knight used to protect it. Ding thinks for 11 minutes, and I swear to you, he must have missed this move because White can't go here. White cannot effortlessly improve his position. What White is trying to do here is play the move d5. Ding thinks for 11 minutes, plays knight to e7, and stops d5, but allows this. And with one move, Gukesh has activated both his queen and his bishop. This is wild stuff. Ding has blundered. And they always say in chess, one mistake follows another. Rook to b6. Now the bishop darts in. Do you go back to defend the 7th rank? Do you go to c6 to defend this pawn? Rook b7 is also a mistake because after bishop d6, rook e8, Gukesh has a +1 advantage. This is basically his biggest advantage of the game so far, except in the opening when he could have played his queen out, but that was a little harder to understand because it was so early in the game. And now Gukesh has an absolutely fantastic position. But he has a very difficult decision in front of him. Does he take the knight now, or does he not? If he doesn't take the knight, it's going to go to the f5 square, where it's going to be quite active and strong, and your bishop will have to go here or here, and you'll have to basically just argue your bishop is better than the knight. If you do take the knight, this bishop is horrendous, boxed in by all the light squared pawns, and then you will put the queen on e5, rook on e1, d5, and have a very dominant positional advantage, or so it seems. Do you take or not take? Game 13, 2 games left in the World Championship match. This is the moment. If you make the trade right now, you might limit your winning chances and allow your opponent to simplify the game down. If you don't take right now, you might let your opponent's knight activate and create counterplay down the road. Are you playing for a win? Are you playing it safe? Are you playing for a draw? Are you playing not to lose? Are you playing too aggressive? What do? Your brain is spinning. Your opponent definitely missed this idea. So what do you do here? He takes. And according to the machine, maybe he shouldn't have. Just improving the position would have been good, and after something like knight f5 and bishop c5, he has a long-term, very, very, very nice advantage. e5 is not possible. If black tries to play rook f7 and play bishop b7, he's going to lose the pawn on b5. So probably black has to play a6. Now you can play queen e5, and if rook f7, bishop b7, now there's d5. Gukesh needed to be patient. He obviously didn't like something about the slow approach. That's why he took and did this, and on the literal next move, went straight down the middle to kick down the door. And he's like, I've arrived, and I'm here to win. This is crazy stuff. I mean, the World Championship is so tense. 20 minutes for Gukesh, 14 minutes for Ding. They both have about 13 moves to go. Nobody's in huge time trouble yet. I'm keeping you updated. This is move 27. Don't worry. Pawn takes, queen takes d5. There's a check. There's back rank problems. The light squared bishop of Ding has just been asleep the entire game. Hasn't moved. Queen e6. Now queen c5. And Ding has only one move here. Rook d8 is a threat, rook d6 is a problem, and rook e1, trying to go to an endgame of queen and knight versus 2 rooks and a bishop, is also a problem. Rook e1 is a very nasty move. 2 rooks are equal to a queen, but it really depends on the position, and in this position, practically speaking, I would not evaluate that the 2 rooks are worth the queen. Ding now very clutch, rook e8, with 8 minutes remaining to make his 8 minutes remaining to make the remaining 11 moves. He has 8 minutes for 11 moves. Gukesh plays rook e1. And now, Ding has to give up his queen. Take, king f2, rook back to e8, knight e4. Ding has to defend this position. Ding has to play 2 rooks versus a queen. Actually, right now, black is up a point if you count the points. Ain't nobody counting points here. We're not talking about points. Rook e7, knight d6 looks like it's fatal. Rook e5 for Ding saves the day. And rook e6, the bishop... Oh, sorry. Rook e6, this rook to e6. And you pin the knight to the queen, and nobody can take. Crazy. I mean, this is... Ding doesn't see that. He doesn't think that this is good to go for. So he goes queen f7, and now Gukesh's chance. Gukesh's chance is there. In this position, he's seeing that the knight can dart into the d6 square. He can either take or knight e4, knight d6. They both look good. Again, what does he do? 50-50. Do you take the knight? Do you allow the knight back into the game? Do you play it fast? Do you play it safe? Last time, he played instantly. Last time, he took on e7 and built this up. This time, if he takes on e8, maybe the winning chances go away. Should he take on e8? Should he not take on e8? Tick, tock, 13 minutes remaining for 10 moves. World Championship on the line. He takes a lead in this game. He only has to draw the game tomorrow. What does he do? He picks the wrong move. It was better, apparently, to take, and knight e4, threatening knight d6. Now black would have had to play really passive defense. You dart in with the knight. Rook d7 is the only way to create counterplay, which is completely ridiculous, because if queen c8, you take the knight, and if this, rook c7 saves it. I mean... He must have seen that, but the crazy thing is, it's still not over because you have queen d5 check, king f8, queen f5 check, king g8, queen e6 check, king f8, and here you play rook d1 with a dominant positional advantage. This is what he had to go for. He had to calculate basically a completely aggressive line which doesn't end in anything. And after rook c7, the bishop is under attack, and white just has, again, a long-term advantage, but it starts with an instant move, and by not starting it with an instant move, he goes here, and now Ding Liren only has one move. Knight d6 wins on the spot. You can't get out of it. No matter what. If you move the queen, I fork you. The rooks. Also, if you move the queen to the wrong square, I play queen d5. Knight d6 is a quadruple fork. Have you ever seen a quadruple fork? We have a quadruple fork in a World Chess Championship. And the only move, Ding thinks for 3 minutes, he was beside himself. He couldn't believe it. He thought he was losing. And then he played rook f8. The same type of move that won him the World Championship in 2023 when he slid the rook to the g6 square and declined a repetition. He slides the rook over 1 square to his left and your right. And now if you fork, the rook comes in with a counterattack on the queen. And the reason why that rook couldn't have gone to d8 is because after here, knight f7, the rook is hanging. So Ding clutches up and suddenly... is back in the game. He trades a rook. He saves his king. The players have 2 moves remaining for the time control, and they make it, and Ding Liren is alive and well. Gukesh had multiple chances in this game. Some were a little mysterious, like in the opening, putting a little bit of pressure. But if he had traded the rook and then played knight e4, he would have had a sustained long-term advantage. But he wanted to cash in. He felt like maybe last time he made the wrong decision, so he played knight e4. He thought he was winning with knight d6, but Ding clutches up and saves it. And honestly, once we get to this position, black is passive, but Ding is a surgeon. Pawn to c3 here, sacrificing the pawn to weaken this one. If you trade with the queen, it's take, rook c8, I get here. And the craziest thing about this endgame is, folks, there's something in chess called theoretical rook endgames. 3-on-2 with rooks on the board is a draw. With pawns, it's not a draw. But with rooks, it's a draw because if you just keep the king and rook here, there is no way for white to promote, unless you lose pawns or a rook. And that is what ultimately Ding goes for. This next phase of the game took like an hour to complete, but as you can probably tell from my tone of voice, it doesn't make any difference. This position is a draw, and you can play it. It might be shocking to you because white has more pawns. It's definitely shocking for most beginner and intermediate players here. Like h5, trying to, take and go here. And this is simply a draw because white cannot make progress. White cannot make progress because the second he starts making progress, black goes here. And if you go to g5, you lose this pawn. If you go to e5, you lose this pawn. So ultimately, the game ends with a repetition of moves. Ding Liren saves game number 13. And it's 6.5 to 6.5. Tomorrow, the winner of game 14 wins the World Chess Championship. Now, I will tell you, sometimes that game ends in a draw pretty quickly. We have seen that Ding Liren with the white pieces is not always willing to take massive risk. Yesterday, he played a fantastic game. It was coupled with the fact that Gukesh played not a great one. Will Ding go all out for a win in Game 14? Will he be more than happy to make a draw? Will we get a rapid tiebreak? And if we do get a rapid tiebreak, it's on December 13th, which is the same day Chesley launches, which is absolutely sensational. I didn't script it that way, swear to you. Only discovered the schedule after we planned this out months in advance. Anyway, I hope you enjoy. This match is absolutely nuts. Absolutely nuts. I have no idea what to expect tomorrow. See you all then. Get out of here.